Welcome back to Math Maintenance. Today we are talking about some geometry stuff. So break from multiplication, break from working with numbers, looking at shapes and how lines interact with each other is kind of the foundation of geometry. So I've drawn some lines on the board. Hopefully you can see those. I know we always end up with a bright spot right there. So I have a purple line and a blue line. I have a green line. I have a red line going off on an angle and an orange line coming through at an angle. And what I want to talk about is how we could describe the relationship between those lines, what words we're going to use to describe them. So the word choices that we have are that we could say the lines are parallel to each other. That means that they will not intersect at all. They run perfectly together but never intersect. We could say that they're perpendicular to each other. That means that they cross at exactly a right angle. So it's 90 degrees, like a sharp corner. Or we can just say that they are intersecting. Whoops. And intersecting just means that they cross, but we're not really sure about at what angle. We can measure it if we had a tool, but we're just going to say that they're intersecting, which just means they cross. To save me some time, I'm going to put symbols with these. Parallel is going to look like this. Perpendicular is going to look like this. And intersecting, I'm just going to make an X for intersecting. So my first set of lines I'm going to look at are the blue line and the purple line. Here's the purple line, here's the blue line, and they are running the same distance apart all the way down the way. That means that those two lines are parallel. That's a word we use to describe two lines that never intersect. The green line and the blue line are meeting right here, so we know that they're at least intersecting. Now we have to decide if it's a special kind of intersection called perpendicular. And we know it's perpendicular if it's exactly 90 degrees. We've represented 90 degrees by putting this little corner in here so that you know that it's a 90 degree angle. 90 degrees. So those two lines are perpendicular. If I look at purple and green, here's purple, I can see that little sign right there that's telling me that they're intersecting lines, but that they're also perpendicular. They're a special kind of intersection. Red and blue, here's red, meet over here, so we know they're not parallel. Now we just need to decide if they're intersecting, and if they're intersecting, are they perpendicular? Well, I know they're intersecting because I can see them crossing each other. I have no symbol here to tell me that it's 90 degrees, and none of those angles look like a perfect corner to me. So I'm just going to say that those two lines are intersecting. When I look at red and purple, here's red, I see those two lines are crossing, so I know they're intersecting. I don't see any symbol to tell me that they are intersecting in a special way at a 90 degree angle, so I would just say that they're intersecting because I don't know that they're perpendicular. Last one on the page is I have the red line coming across and the orange line coming across. I can see that the red line and the orange line cross right here. I don't have a sign there to tell me this looks pretty close to a 90 degree angle, but if it's not marked and I don't have a tool to measure it, I can't for sure say that it's perpendicular. So I'm just going to mark it as intersecting right now. In your packet today, you have a page that looks like this, where you are asked to label whether the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or intersecting. And then on the bottom three, you're asked to draw a set of lines that are parallel, perpendicular, and intersecting. This is the first part of our geometry review today. I'm going to erase the board and set up for our other piece of review. The other part of our review today is in regards to triangles and how we classify triangles. Our classification of triangles, we can talk about all sorts of different triangles and they have fancy names, but for today we're just going to take a look at the angle measures of our triangles and classify them based on their angle measures. So the three types of triangles that we're going to look at are a right triangle. A right triangle has one 90-degree angle. So let's have one angle that's 90 degrees. An acute triangle has three angles that are all less than 90 degrees. So all three angles in the triangle have to be smaller than 90 degrees. The other kind of triangle that you're going to look at is an obtuse angle, and an obtuse triangle that has to have one angle that is bigger than 90 degrees. It can't have more than one because then it won't be a triangle. A triangle has a total of 180 degrees on the inside. So if it had more than two, it wouldn't be able to connect back together. So in looking at my triangles up here, the right triangle has that little angle marker in it, like we just used for perpendicular. So the right triangle in this picture is the one that has that corner marker in it. So I would say that this is the right triangle. The acute triangle has to have three angles that are less than 90. So if I think of my hand as kind of a right angle, I can kind of check the angles of these triangles to see, okay, are the angle measurements more than 90 or less than 90? In this triangle, they were all less than the right angle I made with my hand. So I know that this triangle is an acute triangle. The last one up here is obtuse, and I can see that in this triangle, this angle right here is more than 90 degrees, which makes this an obtuse triangle. In your packet today, you have an activity very similar to what I just did on the board. It shows different triangles that it wants you to classify, and it asks you to color them in. If it's right, you should color it green. If it's acute, color it orange. If it's obtuse, color it blue. You should be able to tell by kind of just looking at the angle measures, but feel free to use the hand trick or the corner of a piece of paper to put it on the angle to see if it's acute or obtuse. To wrap up this round of math maintenance, your digital activity today is an assortment of math games. We obviously weren't able to cover all the math concepts that you learned in the last school year, so feel free to pick and choose between that assortment of math games in order to review some concepts that maybe we covered in math maintenance and you want some more practice on, or some things that we didn't get a chance to cover.